is when we start to lower that waterline and we start to lower that chaos, that change is extremely uncomfortable. Like
Hmm.
we are more, we feel more at home in that chaos because we're so used to it.
Hmm.
When we lower it, and I went through this, when we lower it, what comes up is an immense level of guilt
Oh,
because
interesting.
we start to slow down, and because we're used to that level of high stress and
Hmm.
chaos, we start to slow down. We start to think, I'm not doing enough.
What if the very habits that helped you succeed are now working against you? So many high achievers become so used to operating under constant pressure that they do not even recognize the stress anymore. And when they finally slow down, something unexpected can happen, like guilt. In this conversation, Cynthia Fluck and I explore what happens when being always on becomes your default setting, why calm can feel so uncomfortable, and what becomes possible when you stop equating pressure with performance. Let's jump in.
Leadership Sound Bites. Real leaders, real moments, real growth.
Welcome to this week's episode of Leadership Soundbites with my extra special guest. I think this is third episode, the
So
third time. Yeah, it should have been six, I feel like, because I've missed
I
you.
know. No, I miss you too. We have so much to talk about.
We do. There's just a lot there. Cynthia Fluck, founder of, and you can see it in the background, Crescent Holistic Health, and holistic transformation practitioner, which is a mouthful. And I think it aptly describes who you are and what you do. Um, when I can't remember, you've been posting a lot recently on LinkedIn, recently being the last couple months, around mainly focused on women in health, even though you help everyone. Okay.
Pretty much, yeah.
And what stood out for me, and you and I were chatting before I hit record, is the interesting dynamic between the platform of LinkedIn being professional and this space that you're stepping into and talking about, sharing information about, which is women, okay, of that professional population, and what we go through when we hit a certain age, what's actually happening, the rest of the story. I appreciate all the detail and all the information and don't always comment, but I do comment a few times. And it was that the dynamic for me is that typically on professional platforms, we don't necessarily step into this level of like, let's pull the curtain back and see what else is going on. And yet I appreciate it because I think for us to be at the top of our game in life, which includes our professional life, this stuff matters.
It does. It does. It matters immensely. And I'll be the first to admit posting all this stuff on LinkedIn is so uncomfortable for me. And I'll tell you why, because I am one of those high performing women. I'm one of those people who is like, I can do it myself. I don't need help, right? I've been like this my whole life. I've been competing in a male dominated environment my whole life, from 10 years in the Navy to a career in, a short career in defense contracting, right? All this stuff is male dominated. So, and growing up and going through all of this stuff, I always had to have this shell on and this persona, like I had it all together, and I had no faults because I always felt like the men around me were constantly judging me, whether it was true or not. That's what I felt like.
Mhm.
I felt like I was constantly being judged, and I had to perform twice as well as any man in order to be
Mhm.
seen as competent at all. And I don't know, maybe that's my daddy issues. I don't know, but the
Yeah,
fact of the
right
matter is,
now.
it feels that way, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's like to post this stuff and be vulnerable and to admit all the stuff I went through and all the problems I had is really hard. And it's
Mhm.
really hard. And I do get some people who come at me and scrutinize me for it, but I get more people who come back and message me behind the scenes going, "Oh my God, I went through the exact same thing. Thank you so
Mhm.
much for sharing that. I'm not alone." And all of that stuff. And I think having the understanding that what we go through behind the curtains on the inside is happening with 99% of the other women out there too. Just nobody's
Mhm.
showing it.
Mhm.
And it gives us a starting point for doing something about it.
Yeah. Um, it's interesting because when you were talking about, you know, it feels like men are judging me, my brain went to if when you're in industries that are male dominated, I mean, there are radical differences between men and women, our anatomy.
Yes.
The fact that men do not have babies. They
Yeah.
cannot they cannot create and grow that baby. So there's so many, and typically men are stronger. I joke around because I do a lot of stuff at home on my own, and there are certain things that a man's strength level is hugely beneficial because
Absolutely.
I don't care how strong I am for a female, I'm not going to be able to compete with male strength. It's
No, and
just
we shouldn't
no. And so I
because we
think
have
that's
our own
part of it.
strengths.
Yes. And I think that's part of
Yes.
it is that if you're in that male dominated industry that you were in, that's part of we're doing the game of comparison trap that compare ourselves to ourselves and don't
Mm,
let the rest of it get in the way. We are different and we go through different things at stages of our life. And I think it's important to understand in the background what's happening to be able to deal with it, have conversations about it, because it doesn't make us less. It doesn't make us weak because we have all this other stuff that we're dealing with. And so when I see your posts, I'm like, yep, yep, yep. And for me, it's like there's hope because there's
there is
periods
hope.
I go through that it's like I wake up in the morning, I'm a positive person. But I'll wake up and I'm like, I could go back to sleep for a while and I would have, but I can't, right? Because I've got a
Yeah.
day full of stuff. And so I think these are important conversations to have, or at least topics to highlight so that women and men who care about women can see there's another way to live life. So whether it's the physical body, it's the mental, because I deal with the mental side of it. So when people put themselves in these boxes or they're stuck and miserable and unhappy, and it's not the physical body that's causing it, it's the mental, the mindset shifts, all that stuff. That's my role. That's the thing I go into and go, you don't have to live like this. There's
Right.
another
Well,
way.
to your point, though, we got to understand that the two
Oh,
interact.
yeah, no, they're
They're
connected. I
not
just
mutually
don't.
exclusive.
No,
Like
but
the
I don't
mental,
deal
it
with the
affects the
physical. I'm going to
physical,
send it
and the
your way.
physical, and the physical affects the mental, right?
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
all connected.
Yes. I
Yeah.
can help with the mental. Okay. And to your point, I've had clients that were shifted out of this constant fight or flight mode that they were in, unbeknownst to them that they were in that. Okay. Shift out of that and blood
Mm.
pressure went down. They were able to sleep
Hmm.
at night. They were, I mean, all that stuff, right? So while I don't deal with the physical, that's not my primary thing. To your point, it impacts the physical.
100%. In fact, I just posted today an article about that on LinkedIn
Oh,
about how, yeah, you probably haven't read it yet, but it was posted at 7 o'clock this morning. So what are we, August 13th? I don't know if you want to put that date out,
your
but
time, 7 a.m. So for me, it was
yeah, it's
4
7 a.m.
a.m.
Eastern. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Well, why haven't you read it yet? 4 a.m.
I, I don't know. I'm
And,
such a slacker.
but it's all actually the article I posted today. It was inspiring because it comes up to me so often, and it's all about people getting down because they see the healthiest person they know get sick and maybe even die. And they're like, well, what's the point of me trying? Because if the healthiest person I know, it hits them, well, it's all up to fate. It's all up to chance. It's all up to someone else or something else is influencing in them. And there's nothing we can do to guarantee our health. So why try? And that's the whole premise of this article. And really what it comes down to is is a couple of things. One is that we are so gaslit right now about health by the mainstream narrative. We're so gaslit about, it's all in your head, and
Mm.
if you're having mental issues, you just need to be put on these drugs to help, and you just need to suck it up, and if you're overweight, you just need to exercise more and eat less. Right? That's the mainstream narrative. And so people are constantly going, well, she's skinny, why am I not skinny? Or she's happy, why am I not happy? And they're comparing themselves to other people's outsides, but they don't understand what's happening on the inside. And the other thing that comes down to is stress. Exactly like you were talking about. And a lot of women, especially high performing women who've been like this all their life and just constantly striving to be better and constantly striving to fit in and to rise and to make money and whatever the case may be, um, they get so comfortable in their own chaos that they don't realize that they're in the chaos,
Mm.
right? They get comfortable in that perfectionism. They get comfortable in the shame. They get comfortable in the guilt of not doing enough. And all of
Mm.
that stuff is such a constant background noise that you almost forget it's there.
Mhm.
And on a day that feels relatively relaxed to you, you might have a weekend, you're like, okay, I have a day off, but it's still buzzing in the background. All of that. What do I have to do tomorrow? What didn't I accomplish last week? What can I do better? What can I learn? All of it. It's constantly buzzing. This perfectionism and this inability to ever really truly let go and relax. And
Mhm.
that is a killer.
Mhm.
All of that stuff. You have to learn to recognize it and to deal with it and to let it go. And sometimes it takes help to do that because you cannot heal within the same mindset that made you sick.
Mhm.
And sometimes you need someone else to pull you out.
Yeah.
And that's hard for people like me to ask for help.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
Um, what stood, it's so funny. I'm a big one on words, right? Words matter, and the most important ones are the ones we say to ourselves. The word comfortable just didn't resonate with me in this way, and here's why I say that. For me, a definition of comfort is cozy, sitting back, all the stuff, right? It feels good. I don't think it's comfortable. I think it's a routine and they're used to it. Because comfort feels like nurturing, good for the soul, all that stuff, right? And yet
Mm-hmm.
all that routine and that crazy and that constant doing, they're in a state of fight or flight. And you're absolutely right because the subconscious is searching to keep you safe, which is where this ridiculous drive and strive and everything comes from because you can't
Yeah.
slow down, you won't be safe. So
Yeah.
that's what's happening, right? And so when we have that level of fight or flight it's like floodwaters, right? And so you've got this level that's so high that when things are happening in the background that you're not even aware of, to your point, because the water level is so high, the stress level is so high, the baseline is so high,
Mm-hmm.
we lower that when we're successful in doing that. And it's not as difficult as people imagine, okay, which is the good news. But when that lowers, then you're able to actually see these spikes that have been happening the whole time. Only you're
Yes.
able to recognize the signals now and go, okay, I have control to have a different response. I'm able to
Mm-hmm.
respond, not react.
Right. Yeah. And that nuanced phrase of being used to instead of comfortable, that is the way it's intended. And I
Yeah,
think that's a good call out and that's a good way to reframe it.
yeah.
Um, and where that translates for me, the word comfortable in your own chaos is translates for me is when we start to lower that waterline and we start to lower that chaos, that change is extremely uncomfortable. Like
Hmm.
we are more, we feel more at home in that chaos because we're so used to it.
Hmm.
When we lower it, and I went through this, when you lower it, what comes up is an immense level of guilt
Oh,
because
interesting.
we because we start to slow down And because we're used to that level of high stress and
Hmm.
chaos, we start to slow down. We start to think, I'm not doing enough.
Oh, I
I'm
see.
not answering the mail. I am not trying hard enough. I just told somebody no.
Yeah.
Like that, to someone who is so used to just doing
Mhm.
and achieving all the time, feels like torture. It feels
Mm.
like torture until you finally calm your nervous system down
Yeah.
enough to where it becomes more normalized, and then it starts to feel more comfortable, or you get used
Yeah.
to a lower level,
Yeah.
right? So that's where I'm coming from
Yeah.
by using the word comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's interesting because there is a fear that people have had that if they're not at that level, right? If they're not doing it at that level, in that state of mind or presence or energy, that they're slackers or they're not going to achieve, right? Because a lot of times they equate the level of stress that they're in, and I go back to saboteurs from positive intelligence, right? The all that stuff. That if we're not doing that stuff, we're not going to be able to succeed and achieve what we want to
right.
achieve, which is a famous lie that we tell ourselves. I mean, you're
Absolutely.
actually more productive when you can calm all that stuff because you don't have those periods of time where you get in with the mile-long list. You've got all this stuff to do and you get into your computer and you just stare at it. You just stare at it
Yeah.
because you're in freeze mode because you're fight, flight,
Hmm.
freeze. And you don't have that anymore because you're recharged and re-energized and calm and you're not at this stress level. You're able to catch stuff. It's like when I
Mm.
talk to clients, especially physician leaders, I've been coaching a lot of physicians lately, surgeons.
Mm.
They're saving lives, right?
Yeah.
And so when they go into stuff, they tend to, and the system gets used to responding to everything like it's a 501 fire, it's a code blue, it's a trauma, it's whatever. And the reality of it is, not everything is. Yes, when things are, then you respond, but heuristics will kick in because you've practiced this. You know how to respond in that stuff. But in the other
Hmm.
areas, you haven't practiced that emergency response in those. And then you're at this heightened emergency, whatever's going on. And when they calm down, they have so much more energy at the end of the day because they haven't, and like I was talking to somebody the other day, it's like when you go through these spikes of fight or flight, stress, cortisol, emotionally charged, however you want to say it, it's like putting the pedal to the metal on a GTO with a four-barrel carburetor. You've just drained your gas tank. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to recharge. Yeah,
Yes.
and I mean, a couple things you said. A1 for surgeons, and I relate to this as a former pilot, being at the controls of an aircraft. You have an emergency in an aircraft, you've got to be present with it. And again, what you practice comes into play. You don't even think about it. You're just hitting switches all over the place and
Yeah.
making calls on the radio and just dealing with it. And you're actually pretty calm in the moment because you know exactly what to do for every emergency situation.
Mhm.
Um, when we can train ourselves to be more calm instead of spiking into emergency mode all the time, um, it actually keeps our higher level thinking present instead of just going into that mammalian brain of survival. And that higher level thinking allows us to recognize patterns and to make informed decisions and calm decisions and to access intuition. It's also going to help with good decisions and to work smarter instead of harder, all of that stuff. And then, not draining your energy. So that's one thing that came to mind when you were talking about all that. And the
Yeah.
other is a lot of people don't realize we have an ultradian rhythm on top of our
A what?
circadian
A
rhythm.
what
An
rhythm?
ultradian rhythm.
Hey, this is what I
Ultradian
love
rhythm.
about being in the room with you. I'm gonna get exposed to stuff that I never even heard about, but I'm ready.
Yeah.
Go.
So everyone knows about our energy cycles, the
Mhm.
circadian rhythm, where we wake up in the morning, we get a cortisol spike throughout the day, we get more tired at night, we go to sleep, we recharge, and then we get up in the next morning. We have a smaller cycle called an ultradian rhythm that happens about every 60 to 90 minutes in our body, where our body will naturally be on the go, and then it'll be in a rest and relaxed state and reset. These little mini resets throughout the day. And most people just charge through the whole work day, and then when they get home at night, they fall onto the couch and like, okay, now I can rest. What should be happening is you set an alarm for every 60 to 90 minutes. You get up out of your chair, you walk around, you go outside, you get some fresh air, you get a drink of water, you take some deep nose breathing, you close your eyes, you let the tension drain, and you give your body a couple minutes to recharge and reset. These little mini breaks throughout the day. And when you do that, you have much more energy throughout the day. You're much more productive. You get to actually come home and enjoy your family instead of collapsing onto the couch in front of the TV with a glass of wine and giving up for the rest of the day, right?
Mhm.
So it makes a huge difference. Just these little mini breaks throughout the day, just honoring that ultradian rhythm in your body.
Um, I love it. What I do have is I have a reminder because obviously we're virtual, and a lot of what I do is I'm sitting for the most part.
Yeah, I
And
do
so
too.
I have a reminder at 10 after the hour that says do 10 squats. And it makes me
Yay!
smile every time. And when it comes off, as long as I'm not recording or with a client, I will just stand up and do 10 squats and do that. But it's otherwise time just flies by. And then I'm
Yeah,
like, damn, I've been sitting here for hours and have not, because I drink a lot of water, so I don't go to the bathroom a lot because my body is used to the water. It's not like that dry sponge that, doesn't soak up water. And so there isn't this, every 45 minutes I'm getting up to do whatever. I could literally just plug in and go. And so that reminder just makes me smile.
yeah,
So,
absolutely. And that's an amazing habit. Everyone should do something like that. And those mini muscle snacks, they all count and they do so much for your body. And especially building those large leg muscles, either squats or doing 30 seconds of a wall sit or something. One, it helps to regulate your blood sugar throughout the day. It
oh,
helps to increase bone density. It helps to regulate hormones. I mean, it helps to just tone your muscles. I mean, especially for women, we should be doing muscle snacks or some sort of weightlifting all the time anyway, just because sarcopenia tends to set in more quickly after age 40. So,
Sarko got it.
sarcopenia, muscle loss. Sorry,
Okay.
too technical
Yeah.
there.
No, you're fine. I'm like, okay, that's a new word. You call
Yeah,
them snacks?
muscle snacks. Yes.
I love that. I love
People
that.
think they have to go to the gym for 2 hours every day. You don't. You
No.
know, I mean, going to the gym for 20 minutes a few times a week with some good focused weight training,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful. But sneak in muscle snacks, they all count. They all count and they make a difference.
Muscles. I'm serious. That just cracks me up. And so I so appreciate the fact that when I described that the alarm goes off at once an hour to do 10 squats, you called it a habit. It is not. If it was a habit,
Yet.
I would not
Yet.
need the reminder. Yeah.
It's not a habit yet.
Yeah, yet. You're absolutely right. It's not a habit yet, but it cracked me up. I thought you were so funny. Um, so if we go back to women in the workforce, in professional, high achieving, high performing, um, what I'm just wondering, what are some things that you see with what you do? So explain for people who haven't been in the room, and I'm sorry, we're like 30 minutes in or whatever it is. I'm gonna go tell
It's
people who you
okay.
are, Cynthia. Um, let people know what you're seeing, what you do and the results and this shifts in the outcomes. Just some quick examples so that people can see, because for me, my goal in life is to help humans have the best experience of this life. And
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
leadership, how we show up, and it's also how we feel that enables us to be able to show up as our best selves. So can you share just some examples of stuff that you're
Sure.
seeing?
Sure. Wow, that's a broad question. Okay, let me go
I
into
know. I'm
my
so
my
sorry.
Rolodex here.
Yeah. So, and
Um,
obviously none of this is scripted, but I
yeah,
thought it would be kind of cool if some stuff stands out for you. And it can be recent stuff that you've done because you're on a focus right now of the campaign or the information that you're sharing is focused around women who
absolutely.
are
Yeah.
going through the cycles of what we do past, I don't know, age of 40 on, and it could start earlier, and I'm just not, I mean, somebody said 30 stuff starts happening. Somebody else said, I think my father told me after 21, you start losing brain stuff. And I'm like, okay, great. That's awesome. So
Yeah.
that's the space, if we can take a narrower slice, right? Of
Okay.
because something prompted you to start sharing this information. It's
Uh-huh.
very focused on it. And so that's where kind of I'm coming from. What are you seeing? And on the intake side as well as the output side.
Sure, sure. Let me frame it a little bit with how I
Yeah,
work because it matters.
I would love that.
So I'm certified in functional medicine, and you'll find a lot of certified functional medicine practitioners out there. And what that really means is instead of looking at suppressing symptoms, we're looking at the what's underneath causing the symptoms and removing that, so we don't need to suppress the symptoms. Right? Symptoms are gifts; they're communication from our body that tell us it needs help. We don't. They're not problems we need to suppress. Um, and the other side of what I do is energy healing. And this was a big leap for me coming from a very left-brained upbringing and background. Um, and the whole history of how I got into that and that evolution will leave for another time. But the gist of it is that our energy precedes our physicality. And the stress we go through, the perfectionism, the old traumas, everything we don't process properly through our body gets stuck in our tissues, and it can inhibit healing. So even if we look at everything from the functional side and we optimize lifestyle, we optimize diet, we optimize nutrition and supplements and whatever else may be, and the lab markers look perfect, if you don't deal with the energy side of it, healing is going to be difficult, because that energy contributes to that physiological and mental emotional stress, that's keeping your body from healing. So the body cannot heal until the threat is gone. It cannot
Hmm.
heal in a state of chronic stress. And I find with clients that at first I would work with clients either functionally or energetically because the two didn't really seem to mesh very well. And I've actually developed a way to mesh them better now. Um, but I would see clients in the beginning who would just do one or the other, and their healing would be okay, right? They would heal, but then they would regress, or a lot of times on the physical side, they would have very very slow healing, if at all. But when I started meshing the two, healing became exponentially more quick. They would
Hmm.
heal much more quickly. Things would stick. They'd start to step into the more optimized version of themselves more quickly. Well, as I was going through all of this, the reason I started to focus on perimenopausal women and postmenopausal women is because those were mostly the people that were coming to me anyway. Right? That was the bulk of my practice. I've had teenagers and kids that I've worked on through parents. I've had men. I've had all of that stuff. But the bulk of my practice was women. So I just thought, okay, well, I'm just going to cater to this 80%, and really start feeding that dynamic because those are the women that tend to come to me anyway. So that's how
Hmm.
I ended up with this. Um, what I see a lot, and this is probably true across 90% of the women that come to me. They have sets of symptoms that are common across so many women: unwanted weight gain, um, anxiety and depression, mood swings, lack of motivation, autoimmune disorders, headaches, um, sleeplessness and insomnia, hot flashes, night sweats, skin issues, right? The list goes on, but all of this stuff. And some of them are not on any medications and they're just trying to manage their symptoms and power through. And some of them are on dozens of medications for each and every symptom, suppressing, 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 right? Digestive issues is another big one, especially acid reflux. Um, and in almost all the cases, they've been to dozens of specialists, they've been to doctors, and all the doctors have measured their blood work and said, ah, you're fine. You just, it's just part of getting old. It's just part
Mm-hmm.
of aging. You're fine. Go home, eat less, exercise more. You're good to go. There's nothing I can do for you except prescribe you all this stuff. Um, and they end up coming to me because they get so frustrated. They're like, I don't know what to do anymore. I need help. Someone told me about you. I saw your posts. Can you help me? I'm like, yeah, I can. I can help you. Right? And what they're not told is all of these symptoms they're experiencing, right? They're all connected. Everything's connected. And most of the time, the medications they're on are just making them worse. They're causing more nutrient deficiencies. They're causing more issues. A lot of the medications they're on could have been avoided just by testing their nutrients and getting them the right nutrients that they were out of, right? Um, and then hormonally, what's going on is they're getting their blood tested for hormones, and their hormones are showing up. Either they're showing up great on the blood test and they're being sent away, or they're showing up with maybe low estrogen or low progesterone or whatever, or low testosterone, and they're put on hormone replacement therapy and sent away. And what happens? They feel worse
Mm-hmm.
because the right numbers weren't being looked at.
Mm-hmm.
So when someone comes to me, I'm running the tests that show us what's really going on underneath, in addition to the energy healing and talking about lifestyle and educating them on everything that's going on and how it's all connected and why they're feeling the way they are. And most of them just their shoulders drop. They're like, oh, finally, I understand that why my body's doing this. Like, thank God. Like they're so relieved just to have answers and reasons for what's going on instead of being gaslit all the time. And so we work together, and most often people will come off of most, if not all, of their medications over the time, which I cannot de-prescribe. I'm not licensed, but I'll help them
Mm-hmm.
work with their provider, their prescribing provider, to help them titrate safely off those
Mm-hmm.
medications, which requires us to boost the root cause issues so that their body can handle them coming off the medications. And they'll lose weight, which, by the way, even the women who come to me for weight loss is a consequence of deep healing. We don't
Mm-hmm.
lose weight to heal, we heal to lose weight. So when your body heals and it feels safe, it lets go of the weight on its own naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but we end up with women that are just, they're off their medications. They finally have energy again. They understand what their hormones are doing. And they understand why that HRT is making them worse, because we look at actually how their body is processing the hormones and not just what the blood levels say at that one point in time. And we optimize that so that the HRT can either work for them or they don't need it anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right? All of this stuff. So it takes a while. It's not an overnight process. Your
Mm-hmm.
body has been developing these imbalances for decades. It's not gonna reverse overnight. It's not like there's one medication that's just gonna erase all of it,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's always a perfect storm of things we need to adjust and everything. I help women find that optimal version of themselves, mentally, emotionally, and physically, that can step into that optimal, vibrant life
Mm-hmm.
that they want.
It's so funny.
Does
I'm
that
listening.
answer your question?
Yeah, I thank you. It's
That's
so
a
funny because
yes.
I'm sitting here going, okay, I don't have to ask questions. She just answered it. So it's like, how long does it take? And you're like, and it is not overnight. And I'm like, okay, great.
Yeah.
I think the important message here is yes, there is hope. Yes, there is a different way. No, this isn't the end of the road. Um, because a lot of times I think people can get frustrated and feel like and tell themselves this is just how it is because I'm blop years old, whatever it is, which is where you get people that have this mindset that I have people that I've heard go, well, I'm 60. What does that mean? I mean,
Age is just a number.
yeah, I know. I'm like, seriously, please don't make it mean anything more than, well, people of my age, or, I'm a age and stage, or, well, I am old. I'm like, oh, please don't own that. Do
Well,
not own.
that when they say that, that's an identity thing.
Yes,
That's how
yes.
that's, and yeah, and when it's part of their identity, that limiting belief can really have a huge impact on your body. I mean, the mind is
Everyone.
so powerful,
Well,
so
because the mind is
powerful
going to do everything in its power to align all your experiences, everything going on with that identity.
with
I'm
what you believe.
overwhelmed, I'm
Yeah,
stressed out, I'm burned out, I'm old. And it's like, don't own that. Don't, if you're
no,
120, okay, let's talk about it. But
yeah,
55,
I'm 50.
55-year
I'm
olds are
50,
doing that.
I'm 50 years young.
Yes.
Like I'm on this earth 50 years. I feel like I'm 35.
See,
I know
that's,
people my age that feel like they're 70.
yeah, isn't
And
that
it's
crazy?
like
It's like, I
you don't
just
have to
want to
suffer.
slap them and go, no,
I know. You
let's
don't
go
have to suffer. And
forward.
I'm not saying every day is perfect for me. I mean, I have my
No.
issues come up with that I deal with and everything. There's your body fluctuates and it goes through stuff and we deal with it. But you don't have to feel like you're 70 when you're 50. You don't have
Mm-mm.
to feel 20 years older than you are. It's not necessary.
I
And
agree.
I think a lot of the reason people don't want to start this work is because they're so afraid. They're afraid of losing who they are. They're afraid of giving up the things that give them creature comforts. Right? They're
Mm,
afraid of losing people around them. There's always, not always, there's often a subconscious fear of losing approval by changing, either because they're in support groups for a certain issue. So they're going to lose that support group. That's their tribe. That's their community. They're going to be kicked out of that tribe if they heal, right? Or some people will harbor imbalances because they get sympathy for it. They bring it up in conversation. Oh, I was diagnosed with this rare disease that's incurable, and they get floods of empathy and sympathy and oh, I'm so sorry you're going through that and all that, which is not a bad thing. It's just it's keeping them stuck there.
mhm,
Keeping them stuck there because that has become their identity and that's they get sympathy and they get attention from it,
mhm,
and it's not conscious thing, it's subconscious. It's something that it goes back to our fears and insecurities.
mhm,
So it's hard, it can be difficult. I told you before this call that I get on my posts, I get a lot of comments from other practitioners who are in agreement and kind of reinforce and
mhm,
things I say. But then I get these messages in the background, direct messages, and it's not from the women who need help. It's from their husbands.
mm,
And their husbands are going, my wife is dealing with this, 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 and this. Can you help her? And I said, well, yeah, I probably can. Have her schedule an appointment with me. He goes, well, I'm sold. I know she needs this. She's going through everything you're talking about, but I just need to convince her to do it.
mhm,
And it's that, it goes back to that high achieving strength. We don't want to ask for help. We don't want to admit there's something wrong. And then there's the fear of what am I going to have to go through to
mhm.
change and to get rid of this? And is it worth it? Right? There's that
Yeah,
fear,
because what I
underlying
heard in
fear
the
that just
background,
stops them.
yeah, what do I have to give up? Because there are certain, it was interesting. I was in a change management workshop that I was facilitating, and I had them go through ADKAR, so awareness, desire, knowledge, ability, and reinforcement. So it's the journey we all go through for change. And so they were doing it around a personal change that they were going through. This one gal was around getting healthy, losing weight, all that stuff. And so we had them rate themselves on where they were in their journey, right around awareness and, scoring as we went through and educated. And we had a share out. And this one particular participant, she says, well, I think with this weight loss journey and stuff, clearly I'm aware of why I need to do it. And obviously I want to lose weight and get healthy. So desire's done. So she said, it must be knowledge. I need more knowledge. I'm like, do you? Said, so can we go back to desire? And she goes, yeah. And I said, so what would you be giving up? in order to achieve your goal? And she looked at me. She goes, "Oh, yeah." And I said, "So you may not be successful in desire yet. So figure that out. Wrap your brain around that. Reframe that, right? Because that's in the background stopping you.
Yeah.
Like
I would
we
even
can't,
say it's more than desire. It's a why. It's a reason more than a desire.
I don't,
And
it depends on the human because they may have a reason that I want to do this for my kids or I want to do this for me. I don't want to die early, but yet they keep, if it's an overeating thing or eating the wrong food or whatever it may be, right? This thing that gives them a dopamine hit, okay, gives
yeah,
them
that's good.
pleasure, gives them all that stuff. It's a desire thing at that point because it's like, okay, I have to reconcile with letting go of this stuff that I put such a high value on. And am
Hmm.
I willing to do that? I hear people all the time, you mean I can never have? That's not what we're saying. But you can't have a tub of it every night. You can't have an entire sleeve of whatever. I mean, right now, my body doesn't crave that stuff. But at a point, your body is craving it. And so now you're
Oh,
dealing with
100%.
this
And
craving that you,
especially, yeah, especially in the perimenopause state, perimenopause and menopause, we lose a lot of dopamine because our progesterone's going down.
yes.
So, there's that hormonal change too. And dopamine, especially with the amount of electronics and stuff, we get these constant instant dopamine hits all the time. And so our threshold goes up for the need for the dopamine. And we're not doing a lot of activities anymore that give us the extended dopamine and long-term dopamine. We're getting dopamine hits instead,
Hmm.
which makes it even harder.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah. I think that maybe there needs to be both desire and a
Hmm.
why. I think there always needs to be a big why because
Hands down.
when you're going through the process of redefining your lifestyle and stepping out of the person that made you sick and stepping into a version of yourself that's healthy, um, it's like shedding skin, right? When you're going through that process, there are always ups and downs. Healing is never linear. It's never a tomorrow I feel better and the next day I feel a little better and a little better and a little better until I'm well. It doesn't work that way. There's always ups and downs. And when you get to those downs, when you get to that plateau, when you get to that, I'm putting in a lot of effort for seeing a little in return, which happens every time as your body's transitioning. What's going to keep you from giving up?
Hmm.
What is it? And for me, it's um, I see people, and I won't go into more specifics for I see people who are burdening their children as they get older
Hmm.
because, and making their children feel guilty, and it's tearing their families apart because they've not taken care of themselves through their life, even though people told them to. And now they're going to the hospital. They're in the emergency room every month. They need someone around to care about them all the time. Their children can't move away or can't do their jobs because they have to be on high alert in case something happens. They can't travel to see their grandkids. It just builds up all of this stuff, and they're just a complete burden. Not that we don't love them, we do, but I never want to be that for my children,
Hmm.
ever. I want to be able to have as much life as I can, as long as I can, so that I can travel to see my grandkids. I can let them live their life and explore the world and move to wherever they want to for the jobs they want to have. Right? I am not going to be that anchor. And that's my big why. And every time I start getting lazy and maybe don't go to the gym this week or something, I'm like, ugh, yeah, I'm not going to have that happen. I'm going right now. Right?
Hmm.
That's the kind of drive and the big why, the kind of thing that will make you cry when you think about the consequences,
Hmm.
that keeps you going through the long haul of healing.
Hmm.
So,
100%. I mean, I'm bobbleheading, 100%. Yeah,
yeah,
I want there's lifespan and health span, and
yeah,
I want to be vibrant through all of it till the day that I'm no longer breathing, right? That matters.
yeah,
It
it
matters.
does.
Like I watched Disclosure Day and they had bonus episodes on this thing and they were talking conductor, whoever did all the soundtrack, right, for it. He's 94. 94.
That's awesome.
And he's still writing these, I don't know what you call them, the songs, the whatever, with the huge orchestra and all the stuff. He's doing that at 94. And
That's
I'm like,
awesome. That's
you
amazing.
go, dude.
Yes.
And that's who Spielberg taps. They've been doing this stuff for 50 years, over 50 years. And I'm just like, yeah. I mean, he doesn't look like amazingly healthy, but he's active and doing it and all the stuff. And that matters. That matters. So yeah. Um, you and I could chat with you and listen to you for
Yeah. I
so
know.
many
I love these
topics.
talks.
I am in radical agreement with you on this stuff, which
Absolutely.
is super cool. And I just want more people to get exposed to it. So thank
Thank
you.
you.
Time.
Thank you. I love talking to you. It's always so
Yeah.
much fun, and I could ramble on for hours.
Well, and I want to let you. We could just go into, mini War and Peace version of leadership sound bites. Um,
Yeah.
Last thought that you want to leave people with on all the stuff that we chatted about.
Yeah, there was something that popped into my mind while we were talking. Um, and it was that whole piece of resistance of, I don't want to give this up.
Mm.
I'd rather continue living the way I am and be a little bit uncomfortable and not give this up. And I think something a lot of people don't realize is that when your body is healthy, you find enjoyment in different things. So you may feel like you are married to the idea of having cheese at every meal right now, as an example, right? And cheese actually produces a chemical in your brain called casomorphin. It's actually a drug that
Mm.
keeps you addicted to it. Gluten
Really?
is does something similar, yes. Um, but when you get off of that, you actually don't crave it anymore, and you don't find as much enjoyment in it unless there's some sort of mental addiction to it for comfort, or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, which can be dealt with also. But the point is that what you're craving and valuing right now, if it's something that's making you sick, you can take comfort in knowing that A, you won't be craving it forever,
Mhm.
because when you transition to a healthier version of yourself, you really won't miss it that much. And B, when you are more healthy and resilient, you can still have some of it once in a while, and you'll be resilient enough to overcome
Mhm.
that imbalance that it gives you, even if you still want it, right?
Yeah.
So I think I just wanted to put that point out for the people that do have that fear of change and giving up their creature comforts. Is it doesn't mean you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life at the benefit of being whatever you think of as healthy, right?
Hmm.
It's not the case. You're just going to be
Yeah.
healthier and happier and more vibrant, and still have things that you can really enjoy in life
Yeah.
later.
And the other thing I'll say, because it was popping in my head when you were talking, is that around, I will call it routines, practices that we have, gatherings with other humans to where, maybe it's birthday cake or pizza parties or, wine and cheese or whatever it may be. It at some level forms an identity for us, right, in that
Mm.
moment. And I think that's
Yeah,
part of
tribe
it
is so
too.
important.
Yeah, is to be able to realize that you can still go through this health journey, not have judgment for other people about what's going on, and still be able to have that connection. Uh,
Absolutely.
it
You can
is
still have
all,
the ritual.
yes, it's all possible. And
Yeah.
so that's what I'll say too, is that step in without judgment, set it aside, and it's judgment of others and judgment of yourself, and be able to step into a journey because it's worth it. It's
Oh,
worth it.
yeah.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. I so appreciate time
Yes.
with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, until next time, this is Leadership Soundbites with Michelle and Cynthia. Have an awesome, awesome day. Thank you.
Have a great day. So good.
Thank
Bye.
you.